Have you ever watched your favorite animated character and just wondered, how did they do that? How do they go from a simple sketch to a personality that feels, well, alive on screen? Today, we're going to take that journey together, the animator's journey, from that first little spark of an idea all the way to the finished piece. Let's dive in. It really all boils down to this one huge question that animators have been tackling for over 100 years. How do you breathe life into something that isn't? How do you make an audience believe that lines on a page, or even just a lump of clay, actually has a soul? That's the real magic we're going to unpack here. The world of animation is just so vast. It can be that classic, hand-drawn 2D style that so many of us grew up with and fell in love with. Just think about the sheer emotional punch of a movie like The Iron Giant, all of it coming from just line, shape, and color. It's incredible. Or it can be something you can literally reach out and touch. In the world of stop motion, every single frame you see is a photograph of a real physical thing. The animators have to move these little models millimeter by painstaking millimeter. It's an unbelievable display of patience and pure hands-on craft. And sometimes animation is like a painting come to life. This is where independent animators really shine, using the medium to explore these super personal themes, like memory and emotion, telling stories that, honestly, couldn't be told in any other way. So where does a journey like this even begin? You might think it starts with a drawing, right? But actually, it starts with a story. Long before anyone picks up a pencil, you've got to have a solid foundation. And the bedrock of that foundation? A strong story with a really clear theme. I just love this quote because it hits the nail on the head of what a theme really is. Your story might look like it's about vampires or space robots or whatever, but what's it really about? What's that deeper human thing you're trying to get at? That's your theme. That's the precious cargo your whole story's designed to carry. Okay, so you've got your story, you've got your theme, now you need a map. And for animators, that map is the storyboard. This is the blueprint for the entire film. It's where you take the words from a script and turn them into pictures, planning out every single shot, every camera angle, every important moment. All right, our blueprint is in place. Now we need characters to actually live in this world we're creating. This next part is all about the incredible power of drawing, of taking an idea and literally breathing personality and life into it, right there on the page. But how do you make a character feel real, especially if there's some kind of fantasy creature? Well, master animator Joanna Quinn explains it perfectly here. The secret is observation, drawing from the real world. People on a bus, your dog playing in the park. It builds this huge visual library in your head. It's what gives your lines confidence and helps you understand how a body actually moves and balances and shows emotion. This is such a cool peek behind the curtain at how a character evolves. This little guy is Iota from the game Tearaway. And get this, it started with such a simple, playful idea. A character with an envelope for a head, made out of actual paper. From that rough, crafty model, the artists polished the design, figuring out his personality. And then, with these action sketches, they figured out exactly how he'd move. It's like a whole mini journey from a simple idea to a living character. Okay, so we've got a story and we've got a character. The big question is, how do we actually make a move? Well, animators have this incredible toolbox filled with different techniques, and each one has its own unique vibe. Let's crack it open and take a look. First up, a true classic, cell painting. For decades, this was how it was done. Just imagine this. For every single frame of a film, an artist had to hand ink the drawing onto a clear sheet, a cell, and then someone else would paint it from the back. It was a ton of work, but that process is what gave us those rich, beautiful colors of animation's golden age. And we're back in the physical world with stop motion. A studio like Aardman, from Chicken Run, they build these incredibly detailed puppets and sets. The animators then move the characters in the absolute tiniest increments, taking one photo for every new pose. Now get this, it takes 24 of those photos to create just 1 second of film. Wild, right? And of course, today, the digital world has changed everything. Director Philip Hunt talks about seeing Toy Story for the very first time and having this aha moment, realizing that CGI offered a totally limitless palette and toolbox. From creating entire worlds to the tiniest little facial twitch, digital tools have opened up a universe of new possibilities. So making the art is one thing, but actually making a living from it? That's a whole other challenge. So let's shift gears a little and look at the practical side of things. What's it really like to be a professional animator, juggling clients, deadlines, and the whole business of the industry? Animator Chris Rendell lays out some fantastic, real-world advice here for anyone working on a commercial gig. The big takeaway is that it's all about balance. You've got to be creative, but you also have to be flexible. Give your client options, but know when to stick to your guns. And maybe most important of all, collaboration is absolutely everything. And this is exactly where that kind of professionalism can take you. A studio like Aardman became a global powerhouse, not just because they were brilliant artists, but because they could consistently deliver amazing work for commercials, TV, and huge movies. They totally mastered both the art and the business of animation. For a lot of artists, though, the end goal isn't just to work on giant productions. It's about developing their own unique style and telling their own stories. This is the path of the independent animator, the artist with a totally singular vision. This quote from Rachel Bevan Baker just perfectly captures that indie spirit, doesn't it? It's that urge to break free from the big studio pipeline and get back to the heart of the art. Just drawing, following your gut, and even trying wild stuff like animating on location. It's all about carving out that personal artistic freedom. And this right here is a perfect example of what that freedom can create. The animator, Maureen Selwood, made this film, The Rug, to explore her mother's Irish heritage, a part of her history that she never really got to know firsthand. For her, animation became this powerful way to imagine and connect with her own past, creating something just deeply, deeply personal. So, as you can see, from a tiny, playful idea to a complex personal story, animation really is a medium with no limits. It gives artists the power to literally build new realities from the ground up. And it all starts with one thing, a story you want to tell. So I guess the only question left to ask is, what world will you create?